For the first time, a flight delay proved a blessing. I reached Amman for my 16-day Jordan trip late in the evening. Jet-lagged and tired after a long flight, I was in no mood to start playing the tourist. But then, Jordan pulls at you like a child. The temptation was too hard to resist, and I stepped on the streets of Amman to get my first full-fledged glimpse of this wild country. To all of you who have just stepped in, welcome to Jordan. I am Shaunak, and I will be taking you on this exploration of Jordan. I started with Amman, not just because it is the capital of the country, but also because Amman is the best introduction you can get to Jordan. A mixture of yellowed stones and glittering skyline, seated on more than 19 hills. Today, the city is the right stepping stone for Jordan to embrace the 21st century. I began my sojourn with Rainbow Street, a popular hangout zone. You will find Rainbow Street while heading eastwards from the first circle in the Jabal Amman area. There are 8 circles, with most of the happening places in Amman located here. Amman glows at night. The streets shine red and gold. Neat, tidy streets, people crowding the roads, and a refreshing breeze hits you square in the face. I think a lot of preconceived notions that I had about Jordan got broken that night as I walked around. The young and the restless add color to the night, the image of urbane sophistication. This could be any other city around the globe. The laid-back walk of people enjoying an evening out, laughter and shared conversations, yells and cheers at the nearby restaurant where a soccer match is being screened, and the evening had just begun. I stood watching a couple of young men play the guitar. It was like watching a concert out in the open air. And then, the evening was punctuated by the sound of the muezzin's call to prayers. Among the many firsts here, I tasted my first cup of Arabian coffee at a roadside stall. In Jordan, coffee is offered to guests as a part of traditional hospitality, and it is considered rude to decline. The coffee is prepared in a sizwe, which is a metallic or ceramic pot with a long handle. Arabian or Turkish coffee gets its name from the method used to prepare the coffee and not any special type of beans. For something that has a very delicate preparation method, this is a thick, potent brew with a smooth, intoxicating aftertaste. As good as a dram of whiskey, it will settle deep into the pit of your stomach. It takes some time getting used to though. Make sure you let the coffee settle in the cup before you start drinking it. It was an incredibly enjoyable evening. A sensory overload actually. There are so many levels here and so many more left to discover. I was all revved up to start exploring Amman. trace the roots of Amman from the Stone Age to the 15th century in a short while. After a refreshing night out in Amman, it was time for some more self-pampering, or soul-nurturing as I choose to rephrase, golf time. The Bisharat golf course must be one of a kind. Forget bright greens and blue waters. Here, you will find yellowed grass and cactuses sunning themselves in the scorching sun. Thick brown hills roll one after the other as far as the eye can see. The golf course has a 9-hole 67 par ground. Situated near the Queen Alia Airport, it is aimed at initiating young Jordanians into the sport. I couldn't help wondering that the people behind this golf course must really love the game. I spoke with Julia Bisharat Ediger, the owner of the Bisharat golf course.
We established this golf course in 1989. My dad started it with some English people from the British Embassy and Colonel Gardner, who is the father of Princess Muna. They started with few holes, and he took this idea from me. When I used to live in the States, he come and visit me, and I took him to some golf courses. So he liked the idea of having a golf course. And when these people approached him, we need a property, just give us the property and we'll make a... And this is how it started in 1989, 20 years ago. And then a few years later, me and my husband moved to Amman, and we start upgrading the place. It was very simple, and my other part of the family, they were not interested, and they were busy in other issues. So I started this with my husband. Unfortunately, the last 2 years, the amount of people who play golf are not as it used to be. In the old days, I used to have, for example, 300-400 members, and these days, you know, every year we have 100, maybe 80, not too much compared to the old days. But now we are concentrating on a little Jordanian league, golf young people. We teach them for free, so they can enjoy playing golf, and they can hook on the game, so we have a small generation of golfers.
Being a complete novice, I picked up some great pointers from my caddy as I tried my hand at the game. By the way I was playing, it became crystal clear that I wouldn't become the next Tiger Woods this century at least. Amman is one of the oldest inhabited places in the world and has been mentioned in the Bible. It was ruled by the Nabateans, the Romans, the Persians, and the Ottomans. Basically, some of the most powerful ruling dynasties of the world. One place where you can find nearly 9 millennia of Jordanian history under one roof is the Jordan Archaeological Museum. Built in 1951 on the Citadel Hill, it houses artifacts from the Paleolithic Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age to the later ages of the Greek and the Roman and Islamic dynasties. You will learn so much by just standing in the room. There was the bust of Atargates, Syrian goddess for fertility of land and maybe the sea, which was discovered in the Nabatean temple at Khirbet Tanur. There are busts of Roman nymphs, sharp flint tools, delicate pottery that look like they will crumble on touch, sinister-looking funeral statues that belong to dead family members and were discovered from underneath houses, and so many things that it is difficult to comprehend the vastness of human civilization. Culture is a multifaceted concept, with every succeeding generation influencing every layer. The museum is a testament to the structures that will in turn fossilize with time by becoming the foundation for the next layer. Another startling example of this is the Roman amphitheatre that is situated close to downtown Amman, downhill from the citadel. If you look at the Roman amphitheatre, it is impossible to believe that it has survived since the Roman times, and despite the restoration work, it still looks impressive. Built during the reign of Emperor Antoninus Pius, the theatre was carved from the northern side of a hill that was earlier a cemetery. Earlier there were columns on 3 sides and a stream, the Sail Amman, flanking the 4th side. Today, except for a single row of columns, nothing else remains of the forum. The amphitheatre could accommodate about 6,000 people at a time. There are 3 tiers of stone seats, with those nearest the stage reserved for royalty, the middle section for the military, and the seats right at the top for the general public. It isn't difficult to imagine some respected general making speeches from the podium near the seats, or the rising crescendo as the orchestra accompanies an act on stage. I imagined watching an ongoing drama from all 3 rungs and realized that, as always, the general public had been shortchanged. Even if it was difficult to watch the ongoing drama from that height, the view of the city must have been spectacular. As the city changed from white to peach and pink, I doubted if I had seen a more bewitching sight. Walk through the ancient ruins of Qasr al-Azraq and the UNESCO World Heritage Site Qasr Amra on the other side of this break. Early morning, and Amman is up and about its routine. The roads here are pretty neat and tidy, filled to the brim with honking cars and people. souks and marketplaces open up, ready to begin the brisk business of the day. Amman is a melting pot for people seeking political asylum due to the strife in their homeland, and the population just keeps expanding. Compared to a lot of Middle Eastern countries, Jordan is far less conservative. While downtown Amman is old-fashioned, Western Amman is radically different. Despite its modern texture, the city has a strong religious core. Islam and Christianity are the two major religions here, with many churches and mosques steering the faithful. 5 times a day, the city reverberates with the call to prayers. The tall minarets of the Grand Husseini Mosque have become a common fixture in downtown Amman. Then there is the King Abdullah Mosque, close to the citadel, which was built in the memory of the first Emir of Transjordan, the founder of the Hashemite kingdom and one of the most beloved figures in Jordan, King Abdullah. However, all mosques pale in front of the magnetism of the old mosque, as even today it remains the favorite. Hejaz Railway is another important chapter in Amman's history. Built in the early 1900s under the reign of Sultan Abdul Hamid, it connected Damascus to Medina, shortening a 60-day trip to just 60 hours. While there is a lot to observe and appreciate in Amman, the area around the city is also filled with a lot of interesting options to travel to. While Amman is a stunning city by all definitions, you can explore other places close to Amman too, for a much wider perspective on Jordan. About 85 kilometers east of Amman, and I insist everyone must visit, is the Qusayr Amra, which means the Little Palace of Amra, and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It stands isolated at the edge of the Wadi al-Butum, as there are no ancient settlements here. Part of the Umayyad dynasty, the castle was actually a fortress and residence of the Umayyad Caliphs. Today though, only the hammam or bathhouse remains. I tried my hand at the sakiya, a system by which you could draw water from the well into the water tank. Quite a simple and effective method. The striking point of this monument is the extensive frescoes that decorate the walls of the hammam. They give you a keen insight into early Islamic art. Jordan is filled with many desert castles, and Qasr Amra, that was built in the 8th century, is an exceptionally well-preserved monument. That brings me to yet another marvel in stone, the Qasr al-Azraq. On the highway to Iraq stands this impressive castle, mutely surveying the surroundings just like this since the 13th century. The Qasr al-Azraq is a square-shaped castle with 80-meter-long walls. Though the castle was built by the Romans in 300 CE, the Ayyubids redesigned it in 1237 CE, and this is the form still standing. The main entrance is a huge slab of granite, easily movable as the hinges are well oiled. While walking around the central courtyard, I realized that the Ayyubids were master masons, as these black basalt walls have not crumbled. The walls were further strengthened by stone buttresses. Azraq was extremely vital to the politics of that day and age, as it enjoyed strategic proximity to many countries. Perhaps this is also the reason why it was used by T.E. Lawrence as his headquarters during the Great Arab Revolt. Both Qasr al-Azraq and Qusair Amra are excellent examples of the emerging brilliance of Islamic dynasties. Kingdoms that are no more, but by no means have they vanished. Well, so ended my exploration of this diverse city. I had a story in my head, and Aman filled the first blank space. What did these snapshots tell me? Amman is a city on the move. Ancient ruins notwithstanding. These mosques and castles are not isolated forms caught in history, but a part of the new changing continuum that makes Amman.